Hey guys, Seeney here and welcome to the Australian Wealth YouTube channel. And today we're going to be talking about how to build wealth in 2020. Alright, so of course, these are some of the things that I've found have been the most effective for me. This is of course not going to be specific advice. You need to talk to someone specifically about your situation, and this is for entertainment because I'm just a guy on YouTube. So the first thing that I believe is the most important thing to getting wealth and growing that over time is to get rid of any high interest debt. This is something that destroys so many people, is the debt cycle, whether that be credit card debts or car loans, anything like that. Those are the things that are going to really hold you back. I've said before, anything that's over a 5% interest rate is probably going to be bad debt. It's going to be on a depreciating asset. Now, there are going to be some examples of an interest rate that's lower than that on depreciating asset. However, having said that, if it's over 5%, it's probably going to be something that is holding you back. So the best thing I can think of is if you have any debt over 5-6%, then get rid of it as soon as you can. I know this can be a lot easier said than done, but there's a couple of different ways that you can get rid of your debt. The first one is to look at the debt snowball approach. So that's basically looking at the smallest debt first and then starting to pay that off and then gradually work up to the bigger amounts. And I can see how that would definitely work in some people's psychology. However, I would start with the highest interest rate first. If you want to get the most bang for your buck in getting rid of that debt, then start with the highest interest rate first. Now, there's a lot of options for debt consolidation, which can reduce the interest that you are paying on these debts. So I don't know your personal situation, but that could be something to look into because you want to try and get that interest rate down as much as you can. So one of the best ways that you can build wealth in 2020 is to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. It helps out the algorithm, gets the video pushed to more people so more people can understand these principles and live a better life. So that is the first thing that I think you should do to build wealth in 2020. The next thing, which is a massive one, especially around our age bracket, is to cut out unnecessary spending. Now, this is a really big one. It can creep up on you quite easily. You know, you spend 50 bucks for dinner, 100 bucks for dinner, Netflix, Uber Eats, and all of a sudden you're spending way more money than you should be every single month. So I think it's really important to have a budget for these things and stick to them because I think you'll be quite surprised how quickly those things can actually get out of control. So it's really important that all of that unnecessary spending, the things that you don't need, the things that you just have for whatever reason, then you cut that back. Because let's say you spend 15 bucks, that's 15 bucks you could have invested, which over a long period of time could be worth, thousands of dollars, believe it or not. So of course you do need to spend on certain things. Everyone has bills that they have to pay, but as you start to earn more money, you can get lifestyle inflation as well, which means you start to spend more money on things that you don't need, which adjust as you earn more money. So I think it's really important to keep a check on that, and that will lead you to growing more wealth in the long term. Okay, now number 3, I think is probably the most important rule out of all of these things, and that is to take at least 10% of your money and have that invested for you. So when you get your paycheck, take that 10% before you do anything and invest. I know this can be really difficult for some people, especially if you're not on a really high income or even a moderate income, because most of that money is going to bills. But as much as you can, at least 10% needs to go away and get invested. Because over time, that small investment every single week is going to add up to something significantly larger. Now, I did a calculation on this before so I could show you guys, because I think it's something that's really powerful once you understand it. So the median wage in Australia is $1,261 a week. So that's the median. The mean is much higher, which is the one they use as the average, but the median is the middle wage. So if you take the highest earning person and you take the lowest earning person and you go through each person and you meet in the middle, then the median wage is $1,261. So it's as close to average as I could get. So 10% of that median wage is 120 bucks a week, which doesn't sound like a lot of money. So if you invest that, you invest $120 every single week. After 20 years, you've put in $115,000, which sounds like a fair amount of money, but of course it is over 20 years. Now, the thing is, when you've invested that and you get a 7% return on average, like the stock market returns, then your portfolio is going to be worth $252,000. So that's a significant amount of money that you have gained just by investing that money. If you took that money and just left it in a cash account, let's assume no interest, then after 20 years, you've got $115,000, but it's actually reduced in value because of inflation. It's very important to watch out for, so that's why investing is very, very important. So that's that. After 40 years, you've put in $230,000, which sounds like a significant sum of money, but 120 bucks a week, every single week for 40 years, your portfolio is going to be worth $1.27 million. So just by investing $120 every single week over 40 years at a 7% return, your portfolio is going to be worth $1.27 million. And the appreciation on your assets is over $1 million, which is just absolutely insane. So even on the median wage with just a 10% input, you can retire as a millionaire, which is pretty special. Now, of course, if you can invest 20, 30, 40% of your money over this period of time, then those results are going to be completely amplified. I try and invest at least 40% of my money, and I find that has led to some pretty remarkable returns even thus far. So yes, it's really important to invest that money. You need that money to work for you rather than you working for your money. All right, now number 4 in building wealth in 2020 is to learn a high income skill. So I would say something that preferably doesn't have a high barrier to entry, like a university degree, or something that has excessive costs. If you want to start a construction company, that's probably going to require a little bit of capital. But there are a lot of things out there which are really enjoyable jobs, which don't take a lot of capital to start up, or don't require an absolute ton of education where you have to go to university and get a degree like law. So a high income skill is something that people will pay you big dollars for, because it's something that's a little bit rare, or it makes the client a lot of money. So I wrote down a list that I think is very achievable for the average person of a few different types of high income skill jobs. So the first one is copywriting. Now, if you don't know what copywriting is, it's basically writing words that convince people to buy your product or service. So let's say that you're selling a car and you manage to write the right words that get people to buy that car, then chances are that's going to be a really valuable skill. So that is one example. Digital marketing is a huge one. I have friends that make millions of dollars for different companies as a digital marketing specialist. So if you're making a company an extra $1 million just by having your skills, then chances are they're going to be happy to pay you a lot of money. If someone can make me an extra $1 million every month, then I'd be happy to pay them $600,000, $700,000 every month. All right, the next one is an AI voice future tech development expert. Now, a lot of this stuff is available online, which you can read. Which is great. There's a lot lower barrier to entry now with the internet and the way things are. So it's very, I wouldn't say it's easy, it's still difficult, but the information is very easy to access. The next one is branded video creation. That's something that I do a lot of for people. And it is really important for businesses to have a great image, so they're willing to pay good dollars to get a great product. Now, on top of that, you can do the same thing with podcasting. So if you understand a little bit of audio technology, then you can use those skills to make some more money. Public speaking is another one. If you're an expert in a particular area, people, once you've built a reputation, are happy to pay some great dollars to have you come and speak. High ticket sales, so what I was talking about before, like cars, maybe you sell really expensive courses that have a lot of information. There's also chatbot marketing services, so if you're an expert in setting that up, businesses are really needing that in the online space, so it's something that a lot of companies are really needing, and you can charge good money for that. A sales funnel expert, email marketing, coaching is a big one, meditation. If you're an expert in webinars, a lot of businesses are looking to set that up. Even investing is another one. online events marketing, a coder, a growth hacking and marketing, IT systems, and a network engineer. So that's just a few different high income skills that you could develop. Like, I'm sure there's a lot more. And there's probably some that don't even exist yet that need to exist, and they could potentially make you a lot of cash. So, of course, when you have an income level that is quite low, it makes it a lot harder to build wealth. It is not impossible, but cutting expenses can only get you so far. I think that is really important to do, but the thing is, you also need to increase your income at the same time. It's much easier to get financially free if you're making 200, 300, 400,000 every single year, even up to $1 million. The problem is you've got to keep those expenses under control, but it is only going to get you so far cutting down. At some point, you're going to need to increase your income. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Okay, so now number 5 is, once you've built a substantial amount of wealth, is to diversify your investments to preserve your wealth. Now, this is something that's incredibly important. In the early days, it's really great to just invest, and you can tend to take a lot of risk when you're a bit younger. But once you have a substantial amount of money that you're looking after, it's really important that you start to diversify. It's like what I said in the beginning, if you jump all into memory, then memory prices get slashed by 75%, and you have all of your money invested in those stocks, then you're gonna see a dramatic drop in your net worth. So once you start to get a lot more wealth, you need to diversify that a bit more. Now, that is through index funds. You can get exposure to a lot of big companies, a lot of different industries, real estate, business ventures, a lot of different things. So diversification, especially once you have something substantial, like 300, 400,000 or more, it's really important to start thinking about how you're going to preserve that wealth. Because imagine you're 60 years old, 65 years old, and you're about to retire, and you have a very asset-heavy portfolio based around memory. I keep going back to the memory one, and you've managed to get a portfolio of over $1 million, and you see that cut in half overnight, then you're going to be stuck with 500,000, and that's, not as good as $1 million. So it's really important to make sure that you have diversified your investments once you have started to build a bit more wealth. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And I think these are probably the most basic steps I can think of to start growing your wealth in 2020. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.